we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is doing good. I'm awesome as always because we are diving into Mock Draft Tuesday. I'm making a new thing. No more Mock Draft Mondays, but it is 1.0. Way too early mock draft, and there is a boatload of talent that is going to be pegged to come into the NFL process, and you got to love it, man. This deep, positional groupings of the wide receivers, offensive line, defensive line is pretty good, and DB still has a lot of good talent. I do like it quite a bit, and I'm going to give my predictions early on what could potentially happen. Before we get started, smash that like button for me, hit that share button, spread the love, the cheer, because it just helps us grow this channel that much more and do much more wonderful things. But what do you say we start with the first pick on the board? I've got some trades for y'all as well, because we'll see what happens with Justin Fields, because this is going to be the whole thing that dictates the top end portion of this draft. I'm saying the Washington Commanders, the Commies, are the ones that are going to be trading, highly likely to move up in this draft to snag a Caleb Williams. Okay, projected trade. Who knows how the trade will go down? They're going to have to give up a plethora of picks. But, I mean, projected trade with the Chicago Bears. Washington finally gets their, franchise quarterback that they are looking for in Caleb Williams. And it's going to be very interesting. They got a plethora of talented weapons in the Washington Commanders offensive scheme with a Jahan Dotson, with a Terry McLaurin, with B-Rob. It's going to make a nice offensive punch. No kidding about that. So Chicago would get the number 2 pick. And what they're going to do, they're going to go Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State Buckeyes. Probably one of the best wide receiver talents we've seen come out of the draft in a very long time. Lots of hype on the man. His father is Marvin Harrison Sr., so the bloodlines are there for a Hall of Famer. And I'm telling y'all, with Justin Fields, if this is the case and they do decide to go in this manner to keep a Justin Fields, adding a Marvin Harrison Jr. with a DJ Moore, adding more talent to the offensive line, we could see a resurrection of Justin Fields be that much better. Hopefully that is the case for these Bears. I do not dislike trading down, stacking picks and getting a stud talent elite wide receiver like a Marvin Harrison Jr. Atlanta projected trade, I'm saying, moving up the board with the New England Patriots at pick number 3. The Pats move down, and I think it's time. The Atlanta Falcons do require that franchise quarterback. The Desmond Ridder thing just did not work out. Taylor Heineke is, he's a perennial backup, fill-in, good quarterback, but he is not a franchise passer. I'm saying they're going to trade up and go for Drake May. I'm a huge Drake May supporter. I think he is way better than a lot of people do think. Ceiling is very high. They get a franchise passer, basically as close to top prospect as you can possibly get. If Caleb wasn't in this draft, I would have no qualms to say that Drake May is the top quarterback in this class, and I still might even say he's above a Caleb Williams, but I'm still not ready to say that yet. Still have some film to dissect to prove that point, but I do like Drake May a lot, and he would fit in extremely well with these Atlanta Falcons team with Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. Get ready for a show if it is with a Drake May. Arizona Cardinals stick at number 4. And I'm telling y'all, it's a very interesting aspect for these Arizona Cardinals. Will they go in the direction of wide receiver, or will they add defense? I think when you're talking the Arizona Cardinals, you got to talk Malik Neighbors from LSU. He is a very talented wide receiver. He will rival, the 1A, 1B to a Marvin Harrison Jr. He is very good. LSU continues down the path of being wide receiver U still, as they are pumping out good wide receiver talents. And like I said, 1A, 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 1B, Marvin Harrison to Malik Neighbors. He's going to be an instant, statistical achiever in Arizona with a Kyler Murray. I do like it a lot. We should see instant fireworks with Neighbors, with Kyler Murray. Number 5, we got the LA Chargers, and I'm saying they're going Rome Odunze, another talented wide receiver. We could see a lot of wide receivers in the top 10. No question about that with Coach Harbaugh, now the man in LA, cleaning up, what he needs to do in LA for these Chargers. New regime, new system. Yes, they got an offensive coordinator that I'm not happy with, but cleaning up the cap space is job number 1. Could they cut or trade Keenan? Abso-freaking-lutely. So adding Rome Odunze with a Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, and Quentin Johnston. Herbie should not miss a beat with all of these talented wide receivers, and we know the constant is going to be Justin Herbert, so we can't, be angry with that whatsoever. Next one on the board, number 6, New York Giants, football giants, I can't even pronounce his name, offensive tackle, Penn State. great size and strength. I mean, New York, they got to continue to build this offensive line, which was absolutely dreadful and terrible this last season. I mean, yeah, could they go quarterback? Probably not, because they locked up at Daniel Pennies for a long time. I mean, so I think you got to continue down this path of rebuilding this offensive line. It is paramount. You need to give him more pieces to protect Danny Pennies. I mean, he's on ACL recovery, so he might not even play early on. But I mean, building out this offensive line is absolutely needed. Adding more weapons in the offensive punch, maybe. They might lose Saquon Barkley as well. So, I mean, rebuild the trenches, get some protection on the offensive, defensive fronts, and I mean, there you go. We can go with Olu. He's a great size and strength offensive tackle for these New York Giants. Joe Alt for Tennessee at number 7, offensive tackle from Notre Dame, one of the best tackles in the draft. And I mean, Tennessee, the rebuilding process is underway. Derrick Henry likely out the door now, and he's not going to return for these Tennessee Titans. DeAndre Hopkins, we'll see what his future is. But I mean, with Will Levis and a younger quarterback, younger team moving forward, you got to build out this offensive line. New regime, new head coach. Everything is new in Tennessee. So why not add one of the best offensive tackles in this draft? Joe Alt will be an instant getter to protect a Will Levis. Number 8, the trade down projected with the Atlanta Falcons, the New England Patriots. I'm saying they get Jaden Daniels. Bill Belichick is no more. The Patriots, they could go in many different ways. How are they going to build this team? Are they sold on a Mac Money Jones? No Money Jones. He's probably likely out the door, and they need a breath of fresh air, and Jaden Daniels is one of these quarterbacks. I mean, getting Jaden Daniels and stacking picks is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, electric playmaker. We could see Daniels jump into the top 5, no question about that. But in this case, he could fall based on team need and, want and who is best available for their situations. But, I mean, Daniels is a very good talent, electric playmaker. Daniels, is Lamar-esque, no kidding about that, and might be a more complete passer at this stage of his rookie career than a Lamar was when he entered the NFL. So I do like Daniels a lot. His scouting report's going to be very fun. I can't wait to do that one, man. Chicago! We got Latu, edge rusher from UCLA. And here we go. The Bears, they trade down, they stack picks, they get Marvin Harrison Jr., and they add a fantastic edge presence to team up as a great compliment to Montez Sweat on the defensive front, which is exactly what they need to do. Keep building out the offensive and defensive front. We could see offensive line here as well to protect a Justin Fields, which is absolutely paramount as well. But I do believe you cannot pass up a Latu. He is that good off the edge and would be seeing, single teams with a Sweat on the other side. It would be a very formidable duo as they continue to build out this defensive front, man. Number 10, New York Jets. I'm going Brock Bowers, man. One of the most, complete best tight ends we've seen coming out of the last few years. Even though last year's tight end class was just great and glorious for, talented tight end prospects, Bowers is one of the best ones that we could say. And I hate throwing that word around, generational talent, but that's exactly what he is. And with the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers, they're going to compete. If Aaron Rodgers is back to full health, you get a compliment to a Garrett Wilson and a Breece Hall. With a Bowers, you are going to be a very difficult team to stop, reminiscent of a Travis Kelce and, Patrick Mahomes type of deal in Kansas City. New York definitely should not pass up a Bowers if he falls to number 10, which he could go in higher, but I think number 10 is really, really fair for a Brock Bowers. Number 11, Minnesota Vikings. Dallas Turner, edge rusher, Alabama, very quick, athletic edge rusher to help keep building this Vikings defense. I mean, QB could definitely be in play here. We could see the Vikings trade up to get a QB like a Daniels, like a Drake May. We will see. Will they go with a J.J. McCarthy? We're seeing his name being floated around like he's going to be a top 15 prospect in this draft as well. We will see, but you cannot pass up a great talented rusher like a Turner who will be an instant day one starter for this defense as they continue to build out. Will Kirk Cousins come back? That's going to be exactly, how they plan to move. If they get Kirk back, then they're absolutely going to go somewhere else rather than a quarterback, obviously, but Turner is a very good talent here for these Minnesota Vikings. Denver Broncos, Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. And like I said, man, the edge presence in this draft is very strong. He is a very powerful edge rusher. I mean, he'll get after the quarterback in any shape, way, or form. And Denver, okay, we could see them go quarterback with the Russell Wilson situation and Saga saying that he's no longer going to be on this roster. We will see. I do believe that Russ has seen, his last days in Bronco uniform. But will Sean Payton really entertain, drafting another rookie and waiting for him to develop? I highly doubt it. He's on a short leash to produce in Denver. Denver with Walmart money. So I think that they pass up on a quarterback and add to this defense with Versa, which the defense was very good last year, and they should continue to keep making strides in that respect. Las Vegas Raiders, number 13. While they could go quarterback here, and I would not be shocked or surprised, rumor has it that Russell Wilson could be traded to Vegas, and that wouldn't shock me whatsoever. So if they do go down the path of more veteran quarterback like they tried with the Jimmy G experiment, Aiden O'Connell is not really necessarily working out. At least you know you have him if you want him. But I mean, if they do go after a veteran quarterback like a Russ Wilson, like a Kirk Cousins, I think that they go Nate Wiggins, Clemson defensive back. And Wiggins is one of the fastest DBs in this draft class, and he is a very rangy corner, off-man cover corner. He is very good. It absolutely will help out this Vegas Raiders defense. Wiggins at number 13 is absolutely fair. Number 14, New Orleans Saints going after J.J. McCarthy. Might be a little high for me. I mean, I still got some work to do on McCarthy's, game, but the Derek Carr situation and the experiment has not really worked out. Carr has been okay. He hasn't been great. They do have lots of money tied up in a Derek Carr, but why not get the next generation of quarterback to at least sit behind Derek Carr and learn something about the NFL game? And I think JJ would fit in very well here in New Orleans with guys like Alvin Kamara and a Chris Olave CO2. They keep adding some more wide receiver talent, and they keep building out this offense. I think J.J. McCarthy could be very successful here in New Orleans, without question about that. Indianapolis Colts, number 15, Terran Arnold. He is making waves up this board. I do like his game. I like his film a lot. He is a very good cornerback, very stout, put together. He was a former safety convert, so he tackles like a safety, and he's learning how to cover like a defensive back. I do like his game. I think he's very talented as well. And I mean, Indianapolis definitely shocked everybody last year with how they played football. And it just continuing to add to this defensive side where the offense, they franchise tagger, re-sign Michael Pittman. I think that you got to continue to build out this defense, and in the secondary is where they require the help. Arnold would definitely give them that physicality that they require on the defensive back end. He could potentially, later on in his career become that safety convert rather than a defensive back, but Arnold is one of these guys. He's a name to watch because he is flying up draft boards as we speak. Seattle Seahawks taking offensive tackle from Oregon State. I can't pronounce his name. We won't even try, but he's got size, power. I mean, okay, it's the name of the game here. We see a lot of free agents. The coaching change, free agents on the offensive line here in Seattle. And Fuaga, I mean, okay, if I pronounce that name wrong, I am sorry. I'm still learning all these guys' names. But I mean, a lot of free agents on the Seattle Seahawks offensive front, and I do believe that, adding another piece like this man, he is very strong, big. I mean, it's what they require, adding more offensive tackle prowess to this offense to protect Geno Smith and keep the run game going should be the MO for the Seattle Seahawks. Number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Troy Franklin, his name is, creeping up as well. I'm kind of lukewarm on a Franklin, but I do realize what he does well, and that is game-breaking speed. This is what they require. With a Calvin Ridley, likely a goner in free agency, they're likely going to have to add more speed and more talent to this offense, and I think that's kind of what they missed, and Trevor Lawrence desperately requires a field stretcher to give him more time. This is exactly what a Troy Franklin is. He is a absolute lightning rod in a bottle, and he will break. He can make a home run at any given moment. The slants and goes are there, and he will make people pay. So with a guy like Christian Kirk, no more Calvin Ridley, highly likely, because they would have to give up a second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. So Ridley's likely a goner. Adding a Franklin with great wheels could absolutely open up Christian Kirk that much more, open up a guy like Travis Etienne that much more, and give Trevor Lawrence another massive target to work with. I do like Franklin to these Jacksonville Jaguars quite a bit. Cincinnati Bengals, J.C. Latham, offensive tackle, Alabama, another one. Like I'm telling y'all, man, this offensive line depth in this draft is very strong. One of the bigger units at the offensive tackle position. I mean, protecting Burrow has got to be job number one. I believe Jonah Williams is also a free agent, so he could slot in at the, bookend position instantly. Latham is a very good talent and will, absolutely be counted upon to protect a Joey B, who has seen his time in the medical room far too often. So, I mean, we'll see. I think that it is a very good pick for these Cincinnati Bengals to go offensive tackle to keep protecting a Joey B. Los Angeles Rams at number 19, Kool-Aid. Hey, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Okay, we could, debate this with an Arnold, because both Kool-Aid and Arnold played with Alabama with the Roll Tide, and I think that, Kool-Aid might be the better one early on, where Arnold will actually be the better prospect later as we do get down the line. I mean, we saw how quick Arnold was picking up schemes and systems and able to play. Arnold is a great swatter of the ball, ball hawk opportunities, where Kool-Aid is very good in coverage, and he will play good. I mean, late round picks for the Rams have definitely surprised us last year with how successful they were with guys like Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams a couple years back. So, a true dual threat cover corner in a Kool-Aid McKinstry, can play the zone, can play the man very well. I do like that for the Rams as they continue to build out their defense and be that much better. The offense looks too good for them to keep drafting offense. We got Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20. This might shock some people. I'm going a little Bo Nix because why not? I think the experiment with a Kenny Pickett and, Mason Rudolph, when you're talking to me that this is going to be your off-season quarterback battle, I don't think you're sold on any of these guys. So they could absolutely go back to the well, get a guy like Bo Nix, and try to recreate something of a Big Ben Roethlisberger type of situation. And I think that's kind of the situation here. Bo Nix is an interesting talent. He's somewhat of an enigma for me, where I didn't like his Auburn tape whatsoever. Very much lackadaisical, where he did go to Oregon. The system was absolutely brilliant for him. So we'll see. This is a shot in the dark. I just think that they're not wanting, maybe they do want Kenny Pickett to be something in the NFL. But when they're saying that Mason Rudolph is challenging for the starting quarterback spot, you got my ears to the grindstone saying, no, they want another quarterback here. And Bo Nix could absolutely lift up this offense. The fact that he can get the ball down the field with ease, I do like him a lot in that sense. Miami Dolphins, number 21. We're going to go Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia, UGA. Okay, and the issue for Miami, they could go wide receiver. They're desperately looking for that wide receiver 3 in this offense, but I do believe you got to continue down the path of protecting a Tua Tagovailoa. He signed his recent contract, big extension, and Miami's got age on this line. They got injuries on the offensive line, and you need to add more talent here. Miami's offensive line played a lot better than I had anticipated this past season, but adding a Mims would absolutely add good depth, solid depth, and Mims is a beast of a man as well. Could earn that starting spot within a year or so with some good tutelage and coaching and learning on the sidelines. He could be a instant replacement for some of these offensive players on the offensive line. Mims is a good pick for these Miami Dolphins, especially for Tua and his health, no question, man. Philadelphia Eagles 22, fly Eagles fly. One of the biggest issues they had this past year was defensive back play. Bradbury and Slay have seen better days. It was not good. So you're gonna go Cooper DeJean from Iowa. He is one of the better talented around game, athletic ability, speed. Could be one of these guys also that is a safety convert later on in his career as well. He's a quality defensive back and would challenge to play day one, and they definitely got to add. If it's not DeJean, they will add likely a defensive back in round 1, in my opinion. I do not foresee it going any other way. They got to improve on the defensive back end. Number 23, Houston Texans. They're going to go Newton from Illinois, defensive line product. And can we say anything bad about what DeMeco Ryans has done here with these Houston Texans, drafting Will Anderson and company? They played their butts off last year, and Will Anderson was great, and you're adding more to this defensive front with a Newton. While he is a little bit undersized, you want to say, he is so electric at going after the quarterback, especially in the interior line. He could roam free with Anderson on the outside, no double teams. This could be one of the best defensive units in the next 1 to 2 years under a DeMeco Ryans as they continue to build. Newton would be a very good piece for them without question, man. Dallas Cowboys taking offensive tackle from Washington. These names are killing me. Again, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. That's not even okay, man. But the Dallas Cowboys going offensive tackle. I promise I'll get these names right eventually. Dallas needs an upgrade at the offensive line spot. Continue to protect Dak Prescott. I believe they do have a Tyron Smith that's going to be a pending free agent also, so they do not sign him. They're going to need an upgrade here, and this would be an easy slam dunk for a Jerry Jones who loves to build out his offensive line, and this would be a great one for them. Washington product. He was very good this past year. Number 25, Green Bay Packers taking Tyler Newman from these Minnesota, he's a great talented safety. There's two really quality safeties in this draft, and Newman is definitely one of these guys. The Packers continue to add playmakers like a Newman to this defense. I mean, one of the best, safeties, like I was saying, in the class. Savage is a free agent, likely to return because Green Bay is one of those teams that they do keep their own. They retain their own draft picks all the time, but depending on what Savage does covet for his contract, we could see them go with a Newman, or if Savage does re-sign, potentially we could see offensive line as a top priority to protect a Jordan Love as they move forward. I do like this pick, though, for them as they continue to build out this defensive secondary. One of the youthful teams in this league that did show out, and they will continue to show out. There is no question in my mind. Tampa Bay here at number 26. We're going to go Mitchell, defensive back from Toledo. He is one of these guys. He is also rising up boards. Very electric playmaker at the defensive back position. Tampa Bay also was one of those clubs that did struggle at times in their coverage, in their secondary, and Mitchell is a great talent that would pay dividends immediately in this defensive secondary. I do like his game a lot. Want to see a little bit more on film. I got to still, I'm carving out all these guys at this point. So, I just got you the early synopsis on how I see these guys. He's very talented, would help out these Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the defensive side. I believe Winfield is also a free agent, so we'll see if they re-sign him. So they're going to definitely need some more talent on the defensive back end. Arizona Cardinals from Houston. Here's their second pick. They're going to go Chop Robinson, edge rusher, Penn State. And Zona's, getting neighbors early on, and now you can start rebuilding the defensive line with a defensive head coach that used to be with the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously. And, you get explosive off the line. Chop is one of these guys, a little bit raw, but, he's so explosive off the line, would pay dividends with some solid coaching, would be a great situation to be with this head coach who is defensive-minded and will pay dividends for this young man. He is a good one here at number 27. Buffalo Bills, number 28, Bills Mafia. I know a lot of y'all going to be wanting to go in a different direction. I am not. I am Xavier Worthy all the way through and through. Absolutely love this guy. Likely we're going to lose, because I'm a Bills fan, but the Bills are likely going to lose Gabe Davis this offseason. Yes, we saw the, evolution of Khalil Shakir. We got a Dalton Kincaid in the, absolutely waiting to explode. You got to add another piece, another talented piece at the wide receiver spot, and Worthy is an unreal talent being slept on way too much this early in this draft process. He's like a faster Devontae Smith. Smitty! Okay, the hand talent, Smitty's better in the hand talents and catching the football than a Worthy is, but he's no worse for wear. Worthy can go deep, he can play inside and absolutely be a yak killer, or he can stretch the field with his wheels, and it's exactly what the Buffalo Bills require. Worthy would be an absolute home run get here in the first round at number 28 because he won't be there in the second round. You're going to either trade down or pick him here at 28. Home run ability is what you require. You add more pieces for a Josh Allen. Why do you not want this? Xavier Worthy is my guy. I'm absolutely, smitten by his game. I'm absolutely loving what he brings to the table. Detroit Lions, number 29. Cooper Beebe, O-line from these Kansas, Wildcats. Running the football is the name of the game for these Lions, and they're going to continue to add more on this offensive line because they have one of the best in the business. They could absolutely go defensive front here as well. Give Aiden Hutchinson that much more help, but at this point, we could see, do you want interior line? Because they feel like they have that. You want to get a massive edge push, and I think at this point, a lot of the top-end talented edge rushers will be gone. So now go build out this offensive line. Continue the, formula of running the football and protecting a Jared Goff. So I think that this is a very safe play for them. We could also see defensive back. Would not be shocked. Keep building out that defense. And, we got a physical guys for a Dan Campbell. That's the name of the game for them as well. Baltimore Ravens, death taxes and Baltimore Ravens adding more defensive line help to this great defense in a Byron Murphy from Texas defensive line. And, he's a great one. He had a great Senior Bowl. He's moving up boards like crazy as well. And I think, could they go wide receiver? A lot of people going to think that. But, after drafting Flowers, you still got Bateman. You want that veteran leadership in that locker room at the wide receiver spot. And we've heard rumors and rumblings they could get rid of Humphrey as well, a defensive back. So we could see DB here if Humphrey is no longer with the club. But adding to this defensive front absolutely is what the predictable nature is for these Baltimore Ravens. I'm going D-line here for these Baltimore Ravens. San Francisco 49ers going with Kitchens. Safety from Miami. When I'm talking Newman and Kitchens, these are your top two safeties in this draft class. And okay, we don't typically see two safeties go in the first round, but with the 49ers basically a stacked roster as it is, not much in the term of free agent market that they're going to have to replace. They could add more to the defensive front as they like to do, like these Ravens do. I think, based on the fact that, okay, we'll see what happens with Brandon Ayuk, which could, inflate a wide receiver to this position, but you add a Kitchens to a unit that was somewhat struggling at the defensive back spot. You add a Kitchens to this team. He's an absolute quarterback on the back end. He's a great talent, can help out in the run, will help out in the pass, and this will pay dividends instantly if Kitchens is with these 49ers. Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs, and they will get richer this offseason. I mean, their biggest issues this offseason is going to be, do they re-sign Chris Jones and Snead? Could they walk in free agency? I'd probably likely say Jones over Snead at this point, just based on dollars and impact to the defense. I think they go Keon Coleman. You got to add more talent. I mean, Rashee Rice turned out, and Andy Reid has been doing very well in the draft process with the general manager, and Coleman would be an instant fit in this offense with a Rice over the middle. Coleman playing outside, can make some plays. Florida State wide receiver. He's made some damn nice catches in his time with Florida State and with the Seminoles, so I'm telling y'all, he is a definite good one, adding more pieces for a Patrick Mahomes, who could lose Travis Kelce in the coming years to retirement as well, so you got to continue to stockpile all these talented wide receivers for a Mahomes, and I think that's a good one. But there you have it. That is first round mock draft. Way too early. Lots of things going to change. We could see some linebackers in here. I doubt we're going to see a running back in here because there isn't really the top-end talent this year. But lots of offensive line, lots of wide receiver talent. We could see more wideouts go in this first round without question in my mind. But it is a very interesting topic in this mock draft. Where do these players go? How are these trades going to transpire? We could see a lot of movement up this board as we get closer to the NFL Combine, which is going to be exciting. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, where your team is going, man. Throw it in your comments. Who do you want your favorite team to pick in this NFL draft? Throw them in the comments. Let's have a discussion, but we'll see you next time. I am out.